Okay, the January transfer window is here, and the January transfer window really should, for a Manchester United fan, sort of bring so much hope and optimism about the season's end. But obviously, if you do sort of follow any reports, Manchester United are seemingly broke and don't have the money to bring in the much-needed striker. So it is a frustrating time for Manchester United fans, but I am in a good mood because I've just seen Liverpool lose away at Brentford, and Darwin Núñez put an absolute disaster class in yet again. So if you are happy with that, please do leave a like on the video. That'd be very much appreciated while I give you my top 5 Man United January transfer signings of all time, and just sort of bring back a little bit more positivity in regards to the transfer window, because my God, the club aren't doing themselves any favours at the moment. So in the comments below, do give me your thoughts on my top 5 and what your top 5 would be. If you disagree with me, do let me know, because I'm happy to change my opinion. But I will get into my top 5 favourites. There's no hiding from the fact there has been some bad ones, unfortunately. We do remember Dongfang Zhu was obviously the prime candidate while giving us an iconic photo away at Stamford Bridge. It was a disastrous signing, that Dong signing. Manucho, if you do remember Manucho coming in, never hit the ground running. I think one of the ones a lot of people do forget is Wilfried Zaha. A little bit of trivia for you. Wilfried Zaha was Sir Alex Ferguson's last ever signing, but also never played under Sir Alex Ferguson. Sir Alex signed him in the January, retired. David Moyes came in. The rest is history. Definitely didn't work out for Wilfried Zaha, but they're the negatives. I'll get into my top 5, and as I said, do let me know your thoughts in regards to these signings. Bruno Fernandes doesn't get into my top 5. I'll just put a little bit of a caveat if everyone's waiting for him. He doesn't get in yet because simply hasn't won anything. I think in time, Bruno Fernandes will come into this top 5, but for now, slightly misses out. Maybe a little bit hard done by, but Bruno Fernandes is not in my top 5. Now, in saying that, in terms of a bit of a prerequisite to get in here by winning something, the first name cups that you'll see up here, yep, he won a Premier League title. Technically, I don't think he did. Correct me in the comments if he does have a winner's medal, but I have a feeling he didn't actually make the 10 appearances. So I'll bring the first name up here, which I think a lot of people will have at number 1. I actually have him at number 5, but it is no secret. Obviously, Henrik Larsson, look, fantastic signing, taking nothing away from this signing. I just don't think he actually met the requisite of 10 league appearances. I think he made 6 or 7. Obviously, pivotal goals, played very well, contributed very well to, and I'm sure the club sort of compensated him with a Premier League winners medal, and I think deservedly so. But for me, I don't have him at number 1. Obviously, we'll get into the other 4 names ahead of him, and I think that's rightly so. But I think when we think of January signings, especially at the moment, we're talking loan deals with João Felix. Perfect loan signing. Came in, did a job, contributed. Absolutely brilliant signing, Henrik Larsson. A shame we didn't have him earlier. I wouldn't say wasted his career in Celtic, but what could he have done with his career if a big chunk of it wasn't at Celtic? But obviously, just well respected at Manchester United, I think comes in nice and easy at number 5. Now we'll move forward to number 4. A bit of a forgotten man potentially in regards to January transfer windows. Luis Zaha, I think one of the most underrated strikers you will see. I think especially in a sort of such a successful period for the club. I think around that time with strikers, we think of Ronaldo, Tevez, Rooney, Ruud van Nistelrooy. Luis Zaha was just as good as them. It just, unfortunately, injury played such a major part in Luis Zaha's time at Old Trafford, but he always contributed when he's on the pitch. He'd always score a goal. He's a fantastic player. He was a threat. Sir Alex Ferguson relied on him in big games. Obviously, winner of 2 Premier League titles, a League Cup, and obviously played a role in the Champions League win as well that season. So criminally underrated at Manchester United, and I think it came in for around £12 million in the January transfer window. I think scored 2 on his debut from memory against Southampton. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong there. But one of the signings that you do need to go back and put a little bit of respect on his name. I thought he's an absolutely brilliant signing, brilliant player. I was fortunate enough to meet him. He was out here in Sydney a few years ago when he was playing for Everton. Lovely guy, and all the time in the world for Luis Zaha. So he comes in number 4 for me. Number 3, no secret to anyone who does watch the podcast, and my admiration for this guy, Juan Mata. Did he live up to the hype of technically a club transfer record at the time? I think it was about 36, 37 million pound. It's crazy to think that was only a few years ago, and now we're talking hundreds of millions of pounds for players. But he was a club record signing. Did he live up to the billing in regards to that? Ultimately, probably no, but I wouldn't put that on his doorstep. I think obviously coming into a sort of tumultuous time at the club wasn't sort of best suited to him. He was obviously, I wouldn't say mistreated, but misused in regards to his position. So maybe didn't live up to the hype. But if you do look at his contribution, one on and off the pitch is just as important, not just as important, but it's a huge part of it for me. So off the pitch was absolutely brilliant for Manchester United. But on it, you look, he won a pivotal goal in the FA Cup final. So crucial in the run into that FA Cup final. Many big goals. The League Cup in Jose Mourinho's first season, he scored in big goals there in the Manchester derby. And in that Europa League win, I think he was in the Europa League team of the season. He was brilliant with Mkhitaryan as well. So Juan Mata, I think some people say maybe not a club legend, maybe a club hero. I think he falls into that category no matter I think every Manchester United fan has a soft spot for Juan Mata, and I think holds him in the highest regard. But doesn't quite get into my top two, while he's one of my favourite players at Manchester United, or was. I think rightfully takes his spot as our third best ever signing in the January transfer window. Absolutely loved him. Now, I've got Henrik Larsson out of the way, so a lot of people would have maybe had Henrik Larsson at the top, but that leaves no sort of debate for my final two. Maybe the order will change. So I'll give you a bit of a surprise on my number two. Patrice Evra. Look, he came in about $5.5 million, and I knew him from Monaco. I think he played in the Champions League final the season before. And you knew Patrice Evra. Okay, Monaco left back, had a good run. He's very attacking. He's one of those fullbacks that do stand out. Obviously, back then, fullbacks were very much fullbacks. They were defending. But when you see this attacking fullback get forward, score goals, get crosses, he does spring to mind. And Patrice Evra was one of those players. So he came with a little bit of excitement. But that Manchester derby, I think the derby was his debut where he got hooked at halftime. Maybe there was an appearance before that. But the Manchester derby is the one that sticks out. Oh my God, he was bad. And he's even alluded to this, sitting in the change room at halftime thinking, I'm going back to France. I can't do this. But the way he turned it around, absolutely, I'd say Juan Mata, hero legend, not sure. Patrice Evra is a Manchester United legend. I've lost count of the trophies he won. Obviously crucial in so many. He's a stalwart. Fantastic injury record, is always up and down. On and off the pitch as well, where, as I said with Juan Mata, Patrice Evra off the field is just as important in terms of sort of believing in the Manchester United culture and sort of just getting United. Patrice Evra is definitely one of those players. You still see that to this day. So for $5.5 million, and the way it started for Patrice Evra, he definitely goes down as my second best January transfer window signing ever. And that leaves no debate for number one, no debate in my mind, Nemanja Vidic. I think he came in for a little bit more, might have been around £7 million. And again, those first couple of games, I remember one away at Blackburn. I think we lost 4-3. It was an absolute nightmare. And you think, what have we obviously never heard of Nemanja Vidic before? Who is this guy? And he came into, oh God, this is not going to work. I just throw Rio. I think Rio played in defensive midfield to accommodate in one game. Nemanja Vidic was at the back, and this is a disaster. Get rid of him. And then the rest is history. He proved me wrong. Sir Alex Ferguson saw something. And as club legends go, he's one of the best defenders I've ever seen at Old Trafford, if not the best. I personally hold Rio maybe a little bit higher. That's the way I view football. But in terms of what Nemanja Vidic brought, absolutely brilliant. I can't speak highly enough of him. As Evra and as Juan Mata, the way they take to the club as a foreign player coming in, they took to the club straight away. They got United, and most importantly, they delivered on the pitch. They left everything out on the pitch, and that's the one thing you do sort of ask for from a centre-back. And for £7 million now to come in and he captained Manchester United to success. I don't have it in front of me which times he actually captained United to trophies, but he definitely was a huge part of that. And look, can't speak highly enough of Nemanja Vidic. Look, we're talking now in terms of our club captain, Harry Maguire, £80 million, and we're saying, is he good enough for Manchester United? This guy came in for £7 million and goes down as a club legend and one of the greatest defenders to ever play in the Premier League. So Nemanja Vidic definitely goes in for me as our best ever January transfer signing. Do let me know your thoughts. Do you agree with those five, and maybe just the order will change, or would you throw Bruno Fernandes in there over someone else, or is there someone I've missed out? Do let me know your top five in the comments below, and we'll be back shortly. Cheers.